Hello. Happy anniversary, everybody. I am so glad to see you here. Welcome, my loves. Happy anniversary, happy Sunday, happy everything. Woo! Okay, so today we are going to do a hangout to celebrate the fact that we just passed a year of this channel. Honestly, this is one of those things that it feels like it's been no time and it feels like it's been a million years. And I think part of that is because it's 2020 and 2020 feels like it's never going to end. But thank you for the super chat. 1 year, I know, 1 year. It's crazy. It's insane. A lot has happened in the last year, obviously. Not just the channel, but just a lot has happened. So let's just hang out for a couple hours and chat it out, and you guys can ask questions if you want to, and, you know, just catch up a little and celebrate the fact that we've made it this far, and I have no idea what's happening next, but, you know, it's 2020. It could be anything. So I know, right? A year. It's crazy. At some point, I will need to stand up for a second and let the cat out of the bedroom because he's fussy. Other than that, I should be good. So, anyway, how is everyone? Has it been a good weekend? We all hanging in there? I just came off 3 hours of Among Us, so I'm a little adrenaline-y still. That was the first time I ever got to be the imposter. Oh, thank you, Atomic Bomb. Happy anniversary to all of us, actually. So yeah, the first time I ever played Among Us over on Fluxy's channel was a few weeks ago. And in 3.5 hours of gameplay, I was never the imposter. Not once. And today, finally, after like another hour and a half of not being the imposter, I finally got to be the imposter. So, meatball for chunk is not a thing. Oh my god, that cat is so fat. Anyway, Vod, to answer your question, being the imposter was stressful. It was really stressful. Because I am a bad liar, and you know, I was just trying. I mean, I didn't talk much, period, which is kind of my style, unless I have something important to say, which nobody believed me when you people were double killing in medbay, and I'm like, hello, logic, and nope, nobody believed me. So, no. But it was fine. I would rather not be the imposter, honestly. Like, I would rather just do my tasks and I don't know. Not really my style. But it was fun. I had a good time. I hope everybody else had a good time, too. Thank you, musical boy. That's nice of you. I've just finished a week of self-isolation with... Oh, geez. Have I considered voice acting for video games? Honestly, like, I would consider doing voice acting for anything. It's a tough field to get into. Like a lot of fields, a lot of entertainment fields, it's tough to get into. Right now, I'm pretty happy doing this. I do sometimes do some voiceover stuff for, like, companies for promotional videos. That's about as far as I've gotten, as far as, like, pro work goes. But we'll see. We'll see if I branch out at some point. I don't know, do I have a good voice for video games? I've been told that I would play, like, the character, like, the slightly gritty, with a heart of gold, seen a lot, chain-smoking, badass chick character. I don't know if that's fair, but you know what, Fluxy? I realize that I'm sus even when I'm not sus. I get it. Oh, I hear the cat. One sec, let me let the little fat ass out of the room. 1 second. You want to get out? Come here. Come here. Come here. Hello. Okay. Come lay down. Come over here and lay down. Come on. Come here. Come be fat over here. Antisocial. Okay. All right, where were we? And if I miss anything in the chat, I apologize. I'm trying to keep up with it. But a sci-fi pro tag. Ooh. Yeah, I guess I could possibly do that. It depends on the character, I suppose. Meatball for chunk. Honestly, this cat is enormous. Like, and I don't know why. I don't know why he's so fat. He was always a chunk, but he's gotten chunkier. And he begs like a dog. If I'm making food in the kitchen, he will come and he's like seen that the dogs will sit and get something, and he thinks that's the formula, that's the key, so he will sit and look up at me and just sort of beg like a dog. So he doesn't get anything though, but that's where Meatball for Chonk came from. I had posted a picture, I think it was in the Discord, of him sitting on the kitchen floor looking up at a pot full of meat, like spaghetti sauce with meatballs in it, just desperately begging for a meatball, and there's no way in hell I'm giving this cat a meatball. There's just no way. So thank you for the super chat, Quentin. A robot sidekick. Ooh. I could play a robot sidekick. I would have to do like the same voice I did for the Kudere alien probably. Unless I was a robot like in Interstellar where they actually sound like people. How did it feel when I did my first video on YouTube? Nerve-wracking. My very first video on YouTube was ad-libbed. And I had this little cheap like $20 mic and no pop filter. And I just winged it and uploaded it and thought, well, there it is, I've started. And that was September 30th of last year. So how much does it weigh? I actually don't know how much this cat weighs, but I know that when he puts just his front paws on my bathroom scale, it reads 11 pounds. And that's just his front paws. So does my cat wake me at 3 a.m. for food? No, he's a hard sleeper. I mean, as soon as I wake up, he's like, yep, food. But no, he's a pretty hard. In fact, speaking of hard sleepers, you might, at some point during the stream, hear the princess, who is the dog, sleeping. She's sleeping like 3 feet away from the mic right now because I'm on the couch and she's next to me on the couch and she snores. And that's one of the features of my Twitch streams is that you get to hear the princess snoring. Unless somebody redeems the little channel points for dog treats and then you get to hear her crunching. So Thanksgiving today. That sounds interesting. Enemies to lovers. Yeah, that's a hard one. But I might do something like that. That sounds like it could be fun. You do hear Princess? Yeah, she's a really hard, like the cat's a hard sleeper, but she's got him beat. She is such a hard sleeper. 20-pound cat squishy muffin boy. Ooh. Yeah, this one's just Chonk. I just call him a Chonk. Fatso Catso. I call him Pretty Kitty, but see, I carry him and I sing the Pretty Kitty song, and it used to be easier to do that. Now I feel like I have to put all of my, I have to brace myself to lift him because he's so big. So, super chunky. Thank you for the super chat, Bushido. The alien abductor made me shed tears. Oh. I'm sorry. I know the cliffhanger at the end of the 4th episode of Vampire Roommate was I know it was a cliffhanger. I mean, I did that on purpose, of course. I didn't anticipate the amount of people who would get angry about it. But it's fine. It's all good. She lived. They always live. Except, it's October, so who knows. But I'm not going to kill any of my recurring characters in October. Oh my god, Vod. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. That is adorable. Oh my god, I didn't know they had that. Oh, that's the cutest. It's a corgi. Aww. But I also do motion capture. I mean, if they wanted me to. I know that's the thing, that a lot of the games do is to go ahead and motion capture the voice artist and map everything accordingly. And if they wanted to, that's cool. What? What? I don't have anything for you. I'm busy. Come here, do you want to come up here on the couch? Come here. All right, come on. Oh! Did it in one. Good job. First try. Yes. What? What? You are such a hissy fit. Stop it. Okay, so there. That's Chonk. Oh my god. So yeah. And good night to anybody who's signing off or can't stay. I will periodically say that for anybody that can't stick around, but I appreciate anybody coming out for this and hanging out with me and catching up after the first year of everything. So yeah, the cat sounds huge because he is huge. A chibi VTube overlay. Interesting. Hey Nolani, I do remember you. You have been around for a long time. A lot of you guys have been around for a long time, and a lot of you are new. And it's always fun for people to talk about when they first found me or what their very first audio of mine was. Because, people are still discovering. They're still kind of stumbling in and finding something and then binging a whole playlist or something. So I know we're like several hours of Vampire Roommate content in now, which I need to work on this month's installment. We'll get the plot back on track. I do like the little detours into cute slice of life moments with them because not everything can be Jason Bourne, but yeah, we do have a plot to push, so. An urbanversary. Oh, thank you. That's a nice way of putting it. Post-apocalyptic scavenger? Oh, that's an interesting one to find me with. Most people say Vampire Roommate or the Blizzard one, the Alien one. What else? I don't know. What's your guys's either? What did you find me with, or what is your favorite? I'm on Eastern U.S. time, but I know there are people in the chat who are all over. Some of them are in Australia and New Zealand, and they're up very late. And if you're up that late and you need to go to bed, please do. Yeah, of course, the first one. Yeah, there's a lot of content. I have a lot of content. Yeah, the myth-alignments, yeah, they stand alone, but they also sort of run together, so. YouTube recommended. Interesting. Jetpack. Oh, yeah, Sam, I know you like the jetpack. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, the Blizzard one, that one was... And I've said this before, but I know some of you guys are new, so you haven't been to one of my streams before. But the Blizzard one, I never intended to be a series. That was going to be a one-off of two people, possibly dying in a winter storm, but you just don't know, like leaving it as a cliffhanger so that the listener could fill in their mind what happened. If you wanted them to live, they could live. If not, then that's your choice. But so many people were asking what happened to them, and so many people were asking for a part 2. And I knew if I had let them die, there would be no part 2 because, there's nothing there. So I had to make them live. And that's how we made a series out of that. Chatting with Death. Yeah, that was another one. Ceci was a fun character to play. Yeah, the fake drunk confession. That one, that's one of the ones I'm more proud of, I guess. Because it seemed like people kind of had a visceral reaction to that. Some people were genuinely bamboozled by that. So. Musical Boy, Super Chat. I'm hoping to make a visual novel game with a friend. I'm hoping to ask ASM artists on YouTube to voice it. I mean, if you start a project and, you've got a budget and you've got a plan and you've got scripts and you've got all that, absolutely, hit me up. I would always read a script. I never say yes without, reading scripts and things like that and seeing what the time commitment's going to be and whatnot. But I'm usually game to at least look things over. Oh, thank you, Slayer Sam. Thank you for the corgi. There's a lot of corgis. I didn't realize YouTube had so many corgi options. That's crazy. Where did I get the idea for Pepper? Okay, so Pepper, if for anybody that hasn't heard, is the yandere imaginary friend. And I was thinking of yandere content because that was back when I first started. When I launched my channel, it was September 30th, so I was immediately into October and all the spooky things that come with that. And I was thinking of yandere stuff, and I don't really like yandere stuff. I'm not a big fan of that obsessive, that kind of thing. But that said, I knew that there were people that liked it, so I was trying to think of a way to do it that would make me, comfortable, but also be interesting and not too, I don't want to use the word triggering, but maybe, reminiscent of things people have actually struggled with in real life, because I really don't want anybody to be uncomfortable when they listen to my audios. To a point. I mean, there's a few that are towing the line, but in general, I like the wholesome, comforting stuff. So I was like, you know what? An imaginary friend that's, there to take care of you. I could see that veering off into yandere territory. I could see somebody being like, I'm going to keep you safe no matter what, because that's my job. And if it means I have to chain you down to do it, I'll do it. And that's kind of where Pepper came from. So thank you, M3. Thank you for the super chat. DJ. Oh, thank you. No worries. If you can't be fully present, that's okay. Thank you for stopping by and for the super chat. That's really nice of you. Why do you hear snoring? Because the dog is sleeping right next to me. That's why. Also, the cat is now sleeping on the other side of me. I am flanked by sleeping, snoring animals. So if that's what you hear, I apologize. But like I said, I stream on Twitch a couple times a week, usually at night, in the evening. And, I play games. I play a lot of Stardew and things like that. And generally, the princess is snoring her way through it. So this is just a staple of my streams now. Is that, yeah. You found my channel because you actually searched for post-apocalyptic ASMR. Interesting. I do not accept scripts, not like for my own channel. I only write my own scripts. I'm talking about like if somebody has a project that they're doing that they, they've got their own plan. Like, for example, like the collab I'm doing with Vixie Voice, that's the Superstar experience. I play a character in that universe. I don't, it's not my channel, it's not my story, but I play a character. So for that, she shared with me what she had in mind, and I thought it sounded like a good character to play, so I signed on for it. And I think we just recorded the 3rd installment of that one, so it'll be coming out probably in a couple of weeks. But yeah, stuff like that. Like I'm happy to consider projects when people need a voice actor, but for my own channel, I write all my own scripts. And when you see like the script partner things on my channel, those are my Olympian patrons who once a month I sit down with them one-on-one and do a call, and we hash out ideas. They bring me ideas for scripts that they would like to see me do, and we talk about where the plot might go and who the characters are and what their motivations are. And then we hang up and I go and I write the script myself. And so far, I don't think they've sucked. So far, I think they've been pretty good. Because, you guys have great ideas. You always have great ideas. And I'm always open to ideas. If you guys want to send me an idea for a story or something, you're always welcome to do that. Obviously, I will think about it and decide whether it's a good fit for this format, because this is a very restrictive format. Just the one voice and occasional side effects, and the listener's dialogue is implied and all that stuff. So there's only so much I can do with it. But I'm always open to it. So, but yeah, I don't accept fully written scripts for my own channel in general. Like, I mean, yeah, just not. I just don't. Like, and there's reasons for that. I like to write my own scripts. That's the main one. I'm a writer. That's my main job. So I enjoy writing the scripts and putting things in my voice and telling a story the way I want to tell it. And I also don't feel comfortable using other people's intellectual property, which is also why you won't see me doing any role plays based on characters that already exist in other universes. Like, I won't be doing anything Harry Potter, I won't be doing anything Marvel Universe, I won't be doing anything, from an existing franchise, because that's not my property, those aren't my characters. And I don't feel great about that. I would much rather create my own universes and my own characters and then tell their stories. So, let me catch up. Sorry. Do I plan on bringing back Pepper? Not anytime soon. I brought her back in a cameo in the bartender one, because people had been asking what happened to her. So I brought her back as just, there's that sad sack imaginary friend at the end of the bar drowning her sorrows. So she's fine. She's, not dead or anything. But to be fair, that voice was an absolute bitch to play. Like I was having to, that voice is almost physically painful to do with the shape my mouth has to make to do that voice. So I probably won't bring her back unless I think of something really cool to do with her. And if that happens, then yeah, I definitely will. But I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to just be like, well, I have to do something with this character. No, I don't. How did the fairy one happen? Same deal. It was just something that crossed my mind that I just thought a fairy sounded cool. And then there happened to be that was the first fairy one. And then there was a prompt last October about a clingy fairy. And I was like, well, I've already done a fairy audio. I guess I could just do another one of that character and make her clingy now. And that's kind of how that got rolling. Let's see. Thanks for the weekly dose of wholesome. You're welcome. Continuing Vampire Roommate. Yes, I will always continue Vampire Roommate. That's a monthly installment at this point. And the next one for that will probably be in about a week and a half, give or take. Singing elements in my videos. In general, no. A couple of reasons for that too. One, if you sing anything that already exists, YouTube will smack you down. Like music is the thing that will get you hit every time for copyright stuff. So even just like humming a tune can be enough. So I try to be very careful. Even if my character is humming, it's got to be some random assortment of notes that doesn't make a sound like a song, so that I'm not going to get targeted. But also I'm not super comfortable singing in front of people, so that's probably not going to happen. Let's see what else. You never knew I had so many thumbnail avatars. Some of these and the thumbnails are fan art from my patrons. I've got some incredibly talented artistic patrons. Like the chibi is V, and the vampire is Solo Shielder, and the spooky with the book open is Space Wizard. That one, yeah. So, yeah, I've got some incredibly talented artistic patrons that I'm so lucky to have doing art for me and making me look amazing. And I love, like, I tweet those when they do them because I love them so much and I'm so impressed. And I wish I had that kind of talent. I really, really wish I did. So I don't, but I wish I did. Hang on, I gotta scroll again. I apologize. You got addicted to using the term sweetness, but I stand firm with the Diet Coke. Bushido, yeah. And thank you again for this. Oh, she's dreaming. She never barks in real life, but she barks in her sleep. You okay? All right, cool. Yeah, sweetness is kind of my thing. And Diet Coke forever. Like, you will hear me drinking the Diet Coke. You ever consider getting into full-on voice acting? I am open to getting into full-on voice acting. In fact, I would love for this to be my job eventually. Right now it's not, I have a day job. This isn't enough to live on, but my goal is to have, if it's not like voice acting commercially, then to at least have this, this channel and my Twitch and stuff be my job, because it is so much fun. And I love telling stories for you guys, and I love creating worlds and exploring them with you guys and interacting with you and finding out what you like and what you don't like, and what works for you and what entertains you. And like I said, I do the Twitch thing a couple times a week so we can hang out and chat while I stream the weirdness that is Stardew Valley, at least right now. Let's see. What did I work with before? This is my first foray into entertainment. My day job has always been communications. I'm a writer, I'm an editor, things like that. But I've never been the speaker. I've never been, in drama or performing or anything like that. So this is my first baby toe step into that. Oh, Bushido meant to write got me addicted to saying sweetness. Yeah, sweetness is a nice term of endearment. I like it. I think it's not as common as some, but I think it says a lot, and it's useful in a lot of different arenas. Yeah, Vixie does the Superstar experience, and like I said, she's a couple episodes into it now, and I play Christina in that universe, and she's got like 6 or 7 people collabing on that one. and she just, sends me the scripts, and I send back the recordings, and she puts them all together. She's doing, it's her channel. She's doing the work. It's turning out great. I mean, she's got a story to tell, and I'm excited to be a part of that with her, and I'm excited she asked me to. So, how long did it take to get my recording voice to be as good as it is now? This is just me talking. So, I was born that way, I guess. I don't know. This is my voice. Now, I do record in a closet that I have mostly soundproofed so that I don't get, the sound of the air conditioner and the dog snoring and all that stuff when I'm actually recording. But other than that, I haven't done any characters lately that use silly voices or anything. I've just kind of been myself. The Painter Stalker. Yeah, I enjoyed the Painter Stalker. I kind of liked turning that one on its head. Let's see. Oh, I hate it when the chat resets on me. I'm trying to scroll through and keep up with everybody's questions and stuff, but I guarantee I'm going to miss something, and I apologize if I do. I'm doing my best. Do I plan to create a playlist for every returning character? Yeah, if I go through a couple of episodes, like if it's just a couple, I might just put like the link to the previous one in the description of the second one and be like, if you want to, you can watch this one first. But if they become recurring, which right now I'm aiming for like roughly monthly on the recurrings, but that can change. Then yeah, I'll definitely make a playlist and try to keep them as organized as possible. And that's something that I'm not great at. I forget sometimes when I upload to add it to the playlist. So I try to remember to do that. If I forget, please feel free to ping me and be like, hey, you forgot to stick the playlist, update the playlist, and I will do my best. Are we ever going to hear another installment of those two scientists that performed the unsanctioned experiment? No, that one's done. And that one I kind of enjoyed leaving as sort of a what happened. Like that's up to you. Whatever happened is up to you. And good or bad, that's the outcome you get. Could I do an audio of a writer who can bring stories to life? That would be interesting. Again, that's a really cool idea, and the hard part for me is telling that story in a way that I can tell it with just my voice and still get the point across without an exposition dump that, derails the story because I'm having to sit and explain all the details that either the listener would already know because they're there, or is just a lot of story and has to be told. Like I try to trickle in backstory where I can. If I dump you guys in the middle of a universe or in the middle of a story in progress, I try to use the context clues where I can to explain what's happening, as opposed to just being like, here's the story so far. And, because that's unnatural. Nobody talks like that. So I watch you all play. I don't get angry. If I help you stay calm while you're gaming, then I'm happy to help. Oh, let's see. Girlfriend, Nightmare Comfort listener. Yeah, I mean, I've got Nightmare Comforts in there. I don't have one specific to the listener losing the girlfriend. I could certainly be more specific about that. I'm not gonna lie, I've had some ideas around that exact thing that I almost took to kind of a dark, almost morbid place, and I decided not to. I kind of stopped short of doing that because, like I said, I try not to be too real world triggering for things that people may actually have suffered or may actually have experienced. Like, you're probably not going to hear me do any sort of realistic, fighting or abuse or, arguing or anything like that. Nothing that's going to be, it's bad enough when I do reverse comfort and I, force myself to cry and everybody loses their shit in the comments because they're like, oh my God, I can't stand the sound of crying. Like, that's what I'm afraid of, because I always go for realism, which means if I did something particularly dark and realistic, it would be as realistic as possible because that's my style. And that could be potentially, hurtful to some people. So I try not to do that too much. Let's see what else. Posture check and hydrate. Thanks, guys. Make Fluxy do sit-ups. Good luck. What type of dog is it? She's a little pit bull, like a small one. She was a rescue off of the island of St. Thomas during a hurricane 3 years ago. 3 years ago this month, actually, she was rescued. And they got a bunch of dogs out, and they brought them to the States to be adopted, and she is mine. So let's see, what else do we have? Ever consider narrating audiobooks? Yeah, I'd be open to that too. Any sort of audio stuff that could be a fun gig, I'm always open to. I'm not aggressively seeking those opportunities right now because, to be honest, I don't have a lot of time. I have a day job that is, there's a lot to do for it. It's a busy day job. And even though I work from home, it's still, there's a lot of tasks that I have to do because it's a fairly small department doing a lot of work, and we're doing great things, but it's still just a lot of work. And then doing this on the side. So I've got, the Twitch streaming in the evenings, a couple nights a week. I've got, doing 3 audios a week for the YouTube channel. And also just, remembering to eat, sleep, and breathe. So I haven't had a ton of time to aggressively pursue any other opportunities. But if something were to come up, or if, somebody were to message me or something, I would always consider it. VOD with a super chat, treats for the pets. No, they're asleep. They don't get anything. The baby was born in Stardew. Turns out when your Stardew fake spouse says, hey, we should have a kid, it's not an insta-kid. You have to wait 2 weeks of Stardew time for the kid to be born, which is weird and arbitrary. Like, if they're not going to give you insta-kid, they might as well make it the full 9 months or 3 seasons because, time works differently in Stardew. But no, it's 14 days. And so the kid was born. We named her Stella. All she has done so far is sleep. I think I'm like 3 or 4 days past that now in the game, and literally all she has done is sleep. And Elliot keeps saying he's going to take care of her so I can go take care of the farm. I did build a silo finally and put some hay in it so Elliot can actually feed the animals, and he did. He did feed the animals once, so I'm gradually getting him to actually pull his weight. But last time I played, he made some comment about how maybe we should have another kid to keep Stella company, and I'm like, slow your roll, man. Like, she's still A, brand new, and B, constantly sleeping, and I suspect you might be drugging her. So maybe not a second kid right away, but we'll see. SCP roleplay. I don't have a stance on SCP roleplays in general. I would consider it if it was a good story. Like anything else, I will consider anything if it's a good story. So, see more of Satan's Little Helper. Oh, the one, most recent one, Satan's Little Helper, the one where I'm coming to claim the soul. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a script partner with VOD. And thank you again, VOD, for that idea. That was great. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Only broken cars. Meatball for Chonk. You will die on a fluffy hill of meatball for Chonk with a super chat. Okay, that's fair. He's still not getting one. Musical Boy 93 super chat. I have an idea for a Christmassy December themed if you're interested. Scenario where a Yeti girl helps a lost mountain climber. Huh. That could be interesting. Yeah, I'm always up for like winter themes. I mean, obviously I don't super theme everything, but I like to have a few seasonal type audios during this season. And I realize that December is not winter in some parts of the world, but where I am, it is. So yeah, I would definitely be open to that. If again, once people put those seeds in my head, like as soon as you make a suggestion, there is now a little tiny seed floating around the back of my brain trying to flourish, trying to figure out, trying to find purchase and figure out how to make that go. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but once it's there, the idea is there. So have I thought about adding ASMR elements? I did do a scratching one not that long ago. I have done a brushing one in the past. Obviously I don't do a lot of ASMR elements. I've been thinking about maybe doing a few more of those. It kind of depends. My mic is not binaural, so it's not going to be quite the same experience, but I might think about it. What's your favorite video my favorite video that I've done? Ooh. That is really tough because for me, like, some videos are super easy to do, but I'm not as proud of them, or I'm not as impressed with myself, I suppose. Like I like the Alien series. I like how it ended. I like how I tied that one up, the story, and that wasn't a super easy one to do. That voice was a challenge because it was so monotone and it was such a rapid, style of speech. But I liked how it turned out, and I liked that story. Obviously, I like the vampire roommate. She's, as a character to play, she's not difficult because she's basically just me, but with a blood requirement. Ceci was always fun because she's sassy. She has a good time. She likes to call people pumpkin. I don't know. I don't really. It's like it's hard to say I have a favorite. I really do enjoy the fake drunk confession one. I really enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed pretending to be drunk and then just turning it off. Like that was a fun feeling, and the reactions I got from people were, as much as like some people seemed to not be pleased with it, I was kind of tickled by it. That anybody had a reaction, you know, that sort of visceral reaction, good or bad, is entertaining for me. So we know more about the angel markers in the listener. Yeah, I mean, the vampire girlfriend story, vampire roommate story, is a slow burn, and you know that's on purpose. If I tied it up too quickly, then there wouldn't be any more vampire roommate, and that would be sad. So, you know, we've had a couple of episodes now where the angel markers were a thing, and you know, first finding out about them and then the actual activation of them. But they are not a thing the listener can control. They are not a thing that, you know, the MacGuffin is not fully in hand, put it that way. So, yeah, but they will definitely come up again. That's the point. Congrats on 1 year. Thank you, Matthew P. Thank you for the super chat. You like that I leave open ends? Yeah, I like open ends too. And to be fair, I'm a little bit selfish in that way. Like a lot of the stories that I start as one-offs and I plan to keep as one-offs, I will still leave a little bit of openness at the end so that if I want to come back to it later, I can. So even the ones that just stand alone, like the Saving the Superhero or the Sentient Mech, you know, things like that, in my head they stand alone. But if I were to wake up one day and go, oh my God, I've got the best idea for continuing that story, then I have not painted myself into a corner. I can still continue that story, I can still tell it, and you know, I have not put myself in a position where I have to bring somebody back from the dead or some other ridiculous plot device just to continue the story. Am I ever going to do a face reveal? No, I will not. I don't see the point. I feel like a face reveal would just be detrimental to the enjoyment of the audios, because this way I can look however you want me to look. You know, whatever appeals to you for a given character, however you imagine these characters looking when you listen. Like, it's like, you know, reading a book. It's always how you want it to look. And I think that's good. And I think that if I ever showed my face, that would stop being a thing. You know, then you would picture them as me and not as the characters. And that's not what I want. So the characters are who they are, and they look how you want them to look. And I mean, obviously I do make it clear I have brown hair and green eyes, because that's how my characters look on my thumbnails. But that's about all. That's about all I will share. What series was the most fun making? Series that was the most fun making? Goodness. That is tough. I may have to come back to that, because I don't know. They're all different in so many ways. Like some of the ones that are very heavy in sound effects, like going into it, I'll just be like, oh God, why did I write this for myself? Now I've got like 30 timestamp marks for sound effects where I've got to drop in different sounds, clangs and booms and, you know, doors and locks and all kinds of things. And I just kick myself like, why did I do this? But then once it's done, I really like how it turned out. I like the soundscape. Building the soundscape is a pain in the ass. Finishing it and liking how it sounds is amazing. So, you know, like anything that you're making, the process can be a real pain, and the outcome is what you're getting to. So yeah, let's see what else. I'm glad you like the drunk tone. The funny thing about the fake drunk confession is that I've never actually been drunk in real life, but I have been around drunk people, so it wasn't that hard to emulate that, I guess. Have you ever considered doing a collab with another ASMR channel? Again, I'm open to collabs if people reach out. Hold on, I just lost it again. This chat is killing me, I swear. There it is, okay. Yes, I would always be open to a collab if somebody approached me and they were like, hey, I've got this idea, and I've done a few. I did a collab with Pine Cat as well. That's not ASMR really, it's just another audio channel, but yeah, I'm always open to collabs if the script is good, if the idea is good, if it's something that I'm comfortable with. I won't do something that, you know, I'm not comfortable with the subject matter, that I'm not comfortable with the character. If the dialogue is extremely difficult, you know, if it's, I don't want to say poorly written, but just not the way a person would talk, I would have a hard time with that, because as a writer, that's the stuff that I would just, zone in on and not be able to let go of. So, but yeah, I'm always open. Favorite bands, artists, and musicians. Oh, that's hard. Bands, artists, and musicians. Good Lord. Okay, I love They Might Be Giants. I love Scouting for Girls. I love Depeche Mode. Who else? Oh my God. I'm drawing a complete blank now. I will listen to almost anything except country. There's a time and a place for different music. Sometimes I'm in my car belting out show tunes, and sometimes I'm going for a jog listening to, Owl City. Sometimes I'm just chilling, just vibing to something really low key. It doesn't matter. Music is music. It's all good. Could you do an audio of the listener running into a clumsy but sweet moth girl? I would have to do a lot of research into the behavior of moths in order to maintain my commitment to realism, and I'm not joking about that. But it's always possible. And I've said this before, and my patrons have heard me complain about this off the charts. The Helen of Troy series, the Demigoddess series, I did so much research because I was that kid. I was super into Greek mythology when I was a kid, so it wasn't a huge leap to do this. But then I realized that I didn't know enough to really tell this story the way I wanted to. So I would just open tab after tab after tab on my browser and just do all this research. I was taking virtual walking tours of the Roman Forum. I was, learning everything I could about the Vatican archives. Every installment I did of that series was researched to death because I was so determined to make it as accurate as I could, even though it was just a fantasy story. I just couldn't not. So any ideas you give me, bear in mind, are going to carry with them all of the research that comes with it. So, let's see. Oh, the kid on Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is the game. Yeah, it's and yeah, thank you, mods, for posting the links to things. Yeah, I play Stardew Valley on Twitch. I play other stuff too, but when I'm just chilling at night and I don't have a lot of energy to play something high key, I will play Stardew, and it's a strange game. It's a really weird game. It seems like it's just a farming simulator, but man, it's weird. Let's see. Please, no face reveal. Yeah, I'm on it. Do I have a Discord? I do have a Discord. It is for patrons. It's a patron-only Discord, because it's one of the perks that they get for supporting me in that way is to interact with me on that level, and we have a good time, I think. It's a fun place. It's like the most wholesome corner of the internet. Am I a Christian? I am not. I was raised Catholic, and now I am atheist, agnostic, non-denominational, no religion, however you want to define it. Satan's Little Helper had a Supernatural, like the TV show. Yeah, I used to watch Supernatural. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I did watch it for a little while. Let me see. And again, I apologize. I'm kind of far back in the chat. I'm trying to get there. A snowy owl girl. That could be interesting. Again, I would have to learn all about snowy owls. Any characters looking back I didn't like as much? Pepper was hard to play because of the voice. So right there, I kind of had an inherent dislike of her. Plus, being a yandere, I just didn't like her in general. Like, I thought she was annoying and trying too hard, which is about right. But but really, I try not to write characters that I don't enjoy as characters, as people. Like, they all have flaws and they all have weaknesses, I guess, but they're still generally decent. And in general, there's a few, like the demon that eats you. There's not a lot redeeming about her, although she tries to make the case for it. The sleep demon, yeah, same. She's there to make a deal, make a bargain. So there's a few one-offs that they're not the nicest people or the best people, but I still like them. Playing the villain is often more fun than playing the hero. Villains are complex. Something had to make them that way. So it's fun. The Ceci Death series is probably not over. I will never say never to any series. All of them may come back. The Post-Apocalyptic Scavenger may come back. The Elf Bandit may come back. They are closed for now. The chapters are closed for now, but the book may continue. So I guess we'll see. M3, thank you for the super chat, the angel marker thing. Yeah, I don't intentionally ever, draw inspiration from other media and other shows and other stories and stuff. I know I could be subconsciously doing it sometimes, but I try my best not to. But I know things are going to ring, like the sentient mech. The number of people who pointed out in the comments that it reminded them of Titanfall 2, which I've never played. So part of me was like, ooh, I got something right. And part of me was like, maybe I should play this game because I never have. And people seem to like it. But yeah, I just never, I had no idea what that was. And I just told the story as I wanted to tell it. And it turned out to be reminiscent of something that already existed, which is, pretty common, honestly. Can I try doing the fairy voice? It's been a while since I did the fairy voice. How... I feel like if I tried it, I'd end up sounding a little too Pepper. I might in a second. I'll do a voice. I do Annie from League of Legends a lot, which was basically Pepper. It was like a variation of Pepper. I'll do that one when I stream. Sometimes Flexi and I will stream League of Legends together, and occasionally I will bust that out when we're streaming, especially if I get to play Annie, because it's fun. The sound effects, some of them are on the spot, like in the fairy ones with the bag of shinies. The shinies were a sock that I filled with like coins and rocks and buttons and stuff. And I did shake that at the mic while I was recording. Most of the sound effects are in post, because if there's an issue with how, because obviously I can't hear it while I'm recording it. So if I go back later and there's an issue, the more layers I can create so that I can take something out without hurting something else. If the sound effects are tied to the audio track will get ruined if the sound effects suck. So I just need to keep them as separate as possible, and that way I can, take out pieces, add pieces, manipulate as needed, and not worry about it. Elbow reveals are better. I get that reference. Series that I've done that's been completed to the fullest, beginning to end. Alien series is done. The Alien series, I don't see going... I'm never going to say never, obviously. I just said that. I will never say never. But I like how that one ended. I like how we wrapped it up. And I don't really intend to continue that story, because I think the implication of where it goes is understood. And I think that people, they can take it and run with it in their heads if they want to, and how it plays out for the listener and the girl that he meets, which I'm not going to say any more for anybody that hasn't heard it. But that one in my head is done. So, VOD super chat, make re-imitate a certain character from a video game with a large ambulatory murder bear. Okay, see, I'm way ahead of you then, Annie. Will the Life and Death series come back when the virus is over? Yeah, maybe. Like I said, anything's possible. Yeah, you're welcome to use the thumbnail characters for mine if you're, a lot of people really can't picture images in their head as easily. So yeah, that's what the thumbnails are there for. I commission those. The ones that aren't done by my patrons, I commission from different artists that I find, and I try to get a wide variety of styles. That's why they change so much over time, because every time I do a new thumbnail commission, I try to make it as different as possible from the last. And yeah, so those, and they're all, all different artists, all different styles, and that way you guys can kind of pick and choose what you like the best, and they're all a version of me, I guess. What would I ask for if I was given 3 wishes? Ugh, that's tough. I honestly, and I know this is cliche, but I really I want things to be better for as many people as possible. I don't want there to be people that are going hungry, or don't have clean water, or don't have medical care. Like that, it bugs me. And animals too. Like I before COVID volunteered at a dog shelter, and the same shelter where I got Princess. And it just, breaks my heart when an animal suffers. In fact, and my friends know this, anytime somebody suggests we watch a new movie, the first thing I do is I go to the website doesthedogdie.com and make absolutely sure that no animals are harmed in the story, because I cannot handle that. Like, it really, really bothers me when an animal suffers, and especially if there's the sound of, whimpering or crying or anything like that. I can't do it. So anything I could do to ease suffering would be how I would use whatever wishes I had. And it probably wouldn't be enough, but it'd be a start. And let's roll up. Sentient sword character. Do you mean the sentient bow? That was a collab with Slayer. That was one of the script partner Olympian patron things. Wasn't that? No, that wasn't Slayer. That was Panthus. Oh, I forget. It was either Panthus or Slayer. I'm so sorry. I don't have it in front of me. But yeah, I think it was. Oh God, I'm gonna kick myself forever. Everybody has such good ideas, and I forget whose is whose. But I know that was not my idea. That's what I'm getting at. That was an idea that was brought to me by an Olympian patron who is way more creative than me, and which they generally are, and come up with some great ideas. See, they haven't figured out yet that I'm kind of using them for their creativity. That I'm like, I mean, I think I'm creative to a point, but super secret, you guys. Just kidding. Most of them are here. But yeah, I appreciate having that creative input that helps guide me and hashing out those ideas and talking them out with everybody for half an hour at a time to make sure that A, I'm representing their vision properly, and B, that I have a good idea of what I'm going to do. I think that's great. It gives me some great direction, and it gets me on track to make something that I think we can both be proud of. Will I ever plan on a sequel to the Tsundere Tutor? I might do another soon. I don't know about the Tutor again. Goth girl with a hidden soft side. Maybe. It's been a while since I was a goth girl, so I'd have to reach pretty far back to bring that one back. Lami has been suggested before. For a while, that seemed like what a lot of VAs were doing, so I kind of shied away from it, partly because I already had like half a dozen of my own series going. For a while there, I was like every week I was doing another installment of one of my 4 or 5 current series. But also, I just haven't really had the interest, but it's one of those that keeps coming up, so I feel like at some point I will probably address it. Do I take boxing during my free time? Before COVID, I was a kickboxer. I haven't been back to the gym since COVID. I, to be honest, was not super happy with my gym. They resisted closing for way too long. They basically didn't close until they were forced. And at the start of it, they were kind of making fun of people who were putting their health ahead of taking that kind of risk. And their social media was not the kindest to people who didn't want to potentially put their families at risk. So I was like, I'm not comfortable with the situation anymore. So even when they did reopen, I contacted them and I was like, I don't think I want to be a member of this anymore. So, I'd already been doing it for a year at that point, and yeah, decided that was enough. So now I just don't have a gym because I still don't, to be honest, I still don't feel comfortable. I live in a place that people are not taking this very seriously. So there are still, hot spots and outbreaks and whatnot. So I'm just trying to be safe and not put myself in a position where I might be exposed. Audio in which a ghost haunts the listener, but the listener dies because of the haunt. Interesting. See, now you got me thinking again. Yeah, Rural has the pepper chain. Some of my Foley art pieces end up at Rural's. Celerius Sewer? Thank you for the super chat. Just wanted to say thank you for entertaining my wife and me with more story-heavy audio than many other VA channels. You're welcome. I'm glad you like the stories. Sometimes I worry that the stories are too heavy, or that, I'm asking for too much of an investment from you guys to be listening and to be taking this journey with me. And I never want to be the kind of person that's like, and I've said this before, even when I do a series, except for Vampire Roommate, this is always except Vampire Roommate, because Vampire Roommate's never going to stop. But for most of the series, I don't want them to go so long that we end up like episode 47. I don't want to do that, because the barrier of entry becomes so high for people that haven't heard the first 46 installments, So I try to keep them to 4 or 5 episodes, at least for the first chapter, like the Scavenger and the Elf Bandit and all that. And then if I just come back to it later, it's kind of like starting a new chapter. But I would always make sure that somebody picking it up there for the first time doesn't feel like they missed too much from the first chapter. Like I'm always going to make sure that it's not leaving anybody behind to continue a story. And because any more than 4 or 5, it becomes, people look at that and go, ugh, I don't have time. I don't have time to sit through this many episodes just to get to the part, And I get that. I'm the same way. If I see, and there's some VAs that do that. If I see somebody post something and they're like, this is like, number 34, I'll just be like, oh, like as much as I want to listen, I don't want to come in on number 34. So my equipment setup and editing software. I have a Rode desktop mic, condenser mic. I've got just a regular like Acer Predator laptop, Bluetooth headphones. What else? I've got a lot of like in my little soundproof corner of the closet. I've got a lot of like foam, and I've got that one of those wraparound soundproofing screen type things to kind of minimize the sound. My software, I use Audacity for the audio. It's free. It's amazing. I strongly recommend it if you want to do any sort of audio editing. Get Audacity. I do all my thumbnails and credits and stuff are in Photoshop, and I use Lightworks to package everything together. So that is my setup. Do I have a favorite thumbnail? Oof. I don't know. Do you have a favorite of my thumbnails? I'm actually curious. I know everybody thought Titanfall was a thing. I've never played it. I'm sorry. Do I have a favorite movie? Again, sort of like music for me. I have a lot of favorites. I have a lot of, depending on the mood I'm in, different movies will appeal. I don't like movies that make me sad or make me feel bad. Like like I said, I don't do suffering very well. I don't see the point or appeal. I guess I see the point to a point, but I don't see the appeal of watching suffering. I know that some stories need to be told, and I know that some stories are very brutal, and that it's important to tell them anyway because, knowledge is power and awareness is important and things like that. I don't like violence for violence sake. I don't like gratuitous violence. I don't like excessive gore. Not a big fan of jump scares. Adrenaline doesn't really do it for me. But yeah, I have a limited amount of free time, as I explained earlier. So if I do sit down and watch a movie, I want it to be something that I will walk away feeling better or feeling good or just being happy that I watched it. I don't want to walk away and going, oh my God, I feel awful, or what the hell was that? Or I have to sleep with all the lights on tonight, that kind of thing. So, I try to choose things that will make me feel, the escapism, the positive vibe. And again, the movie itself doesn't have to be positive all the way through, but as long as it ends on a positive note, or at least a hopeful note, something that I can walk away from and feel okay, that's kind of what I look for in a movie. Other than that, I'm pretty open. I mean, there's a lot of movies that I like. So would I ever consider editing the first videos with a new thumbnail picture? I kind of like them the way they are, because that's how I started. I started with that goofy thumbnail picture of a beach because I was like, beaches are calm. That's cool. I'll just use a picture of my beach and say, look how calm everything is. Then it was like, wow, this is the worst idea ever. So yeah. And I mean, the progression of thumbnails, I think, has been part of the fun of the channel, even though I know some of them are, not the best. It was Panth. Yeah, Panth. I'm sorry. It was like, as soon as I said it, I was like, no, wait. No, that was Panth. Yep. And yes, you are creative. Y'all are so creative. It's crazy. Crazy how creative you are. What else? What else we got? Hold on. I'm scrolling. I'm sorry. I'm getting there. Kidnap victim talks to kidnapper. Yeah, that's another one that I would worry to be a little bit triggering. I would hope not to, but I may have to take, if I were to do something like that, I'd probably have to take more of a supernatural vibe to it to make it less likely to harm anybody, I suppose. Sightseeing in space, yeah. Or as in my head, I think of it Elite Dangerous. Yeah, sightseeing in space was basically Elite Dangerous. I might do another one like that. And that's another one that I left open so that I could potentially develop the captain character, the listener, with my character and explore, her finally getting off planet for the first time, the captain's backstory of, ending up where they are. Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. My dream mic for my online work. I don't know if I have a dream mic. I'd probably like one that's got options for settings like cardioid and things like that so that I control a little better where the sound goes, because right now I have to record either super late at night or very early in the morning, and I mean like 5 in the morning, to keep it as quiet as possible because, I live on a busy enough street that cars go by, and there's also, helicopters, airplanes, dogs barking, things like that. So I have to make sure it's very quiet. I have to, minimize the amount of potential sound issues. Speaking of sound issues, she's licking her chops in her sleep. So anything I could do to control that would probably be good. But honestly, I don't know what would be best for that. Space changes. Like if I decide to start recording in a different section of the house or something, I might need a different style to deal with that. So I think what I have is okay. I think I'm making this work. This is not a bad mic. This is a nice mic. So I'm not unhappy with it. Mafia-y. Mafia could be fun. I would be tempted to affect the accent, which would be a mistake. I would have to not do that, but it'd be tempting. Favorite board game? Ooh. That's tough. I don't know if I have a favorite board game. I like to play... do any tabletop games count? Like Munchkin? I like Munchkin. You know what? My favorite would be Unspeakable Words. I love Unspeakable Words. It's such a simple concept, but it's so much fun to play with people. And you get to play with little tiny plastic Cthulhus, which you can stack and make little pyramids out of. They're adorable. And yeah, tiny Cthulhus, tiny anything's adorable, but even tiny Cthulhus, adorable. What sparked the idea for the prequel for the Vampire Roommate? I was working on some, patron-only content, and I thought, where I started the Vampire Roommate story, which again was not intended to be a series. That one was just supposed to be a friends to lovers, but I was trying to make it interesting because, I was like, friends to lovers with a roommate. Okay, that's been done. It happens. And don't get me wrong, it's been done well, but what could I do to make it more interesting? Oh, I'll make one of them a vampire. Hey, that's fun. And that's literally where it came from. So where you enter that story, they're already roommates. They've already, been living together for a while. They know each other really well. And that's how the friends to lovers thing takes off. But then I realized I'd never gone back and shown anybody how they met, which when I initially created that story, I didn't think of that, how they met didn't matter. That's not important to where we enter that story. But I decided, that would be a fun thing to go back and revisit, considering how far that story has gone and how many installments we've gone now and how much has unfolded in these two lives. And so I thought, you know what, that's something I could do is go back and build some backstory and make that something for the patrons. And then, after a few months, decide that'd be fun to release to the greater public as an anniversary present. So, where's the crab? The crab is retired. The crab lives on as an emoji on my Discord. He's Arthur the crab is there to remind people to take care of themselves. We use Arthur anytime somebody is talking about not getting enough sleep or not eating or not hydrating or just not taking care of themselves. We use Arthur to remind them to take care. A psychic medium who has a ghost contact them. That could be interesting. Yeah. Do I watch Attack on Titan? I do not. That's one of the animes I don't watch. I watch a lot of anime, but I haven't watched that one. The long-haired with the normal t-shirt is your favorite. Hold on, I gotta scroll again. The chat reset itself again. Don't watch Saw. Yeah, I don't plan to watch Saw. The Mysterious Bartender. That was a one-off. It was kind of a love letter to the patrons. Because the domain is the name of my Discord server, and it's also the name of the bar. And it was also a throwback to the Star Wars Holiday Special, because B. Arthur plays the bartender in the Star Wars Holiday Special, and so I named my bartender B in honor of her. I don't know if B will make a comeback. It's difficult because B is a bartender, so things have to come to her as opposed to her going anywhere. It would have to be, the plot would have to arrive at the bar as opposed to her leaving the bar and going and finding the plot. So maybe, again, never say never. If I wake up one day and go, oh my God, I've got this great idea for the bartender storyline, then I will absolutely do it. How old am I? How old do you think I am? Explanation I gave about not creating too many long stories. Yeah, I mean, for patron-only content, I might consider doing a few more installments of some of the existing stories. That's always an option. If there's something you guys really want to hear, I could work on that. I know everybody's got their favorites, and they don't always agree, but that's cool. See, the alien story, I really love how touched everybody was with the finale of that, because as I was writing and recording it, I really didn't expect it to be as emotional as it turned out to be. In fact, even after I uploaded it, after I'd heard it, finished and listened to it a few times and made sure it was clean and everything, I was just listening to it for, the mechanics. I wasn't really imagining what it would sound like to anybody else. So, I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised by how much that affected people, and how I think it's because you had to have been with me on that story to be affected like that. If you're not emotionally invested in the story, it's not going to matter. Who cares? You have to be there for it. And the fact that you guys were there for it was amazing to me. Like, that always amazes me that you guys are there for the stories and the characters. Audiobooks. Yeah, audiobooks are awesome. I really should listen to more audiobooks. I try to make time to read, but it does feel like I've been doing these for way longer than a year. You are not wrong. My opinion on loud cars. It depends. Am I trying to record while there's a loud car going by? Because, boo, I don't like that. But in general, loud cars don't bother me. You never heard of Unspeakable Words? Oh, you must check out Unspeakable Words. It's a great, 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 great game. And yes, I do record in a closet. That is where I record, because closets don't have vents, and closets have lots of clothes and other things that keep it quiet and do your soundproofing for you. Cannot say enough good things about closets. Strongly recommend. It popped again. Hold on. You didn't know other people knew Munchkin existed? That's a big game. There's all expansion packs and stuff. Thank you for the super chat, Musical Boy. Would I do a roleplay of a plushie that magically comes to life? Maybe. Depends on the plushie. Depends on the story. Is it a murderous plushie? Is this like an October story? Because I really only do the murderous stuff in October. I try to keep it, because in general I like my channel to be wholesome and pleasant and, comforting and nice, and the stories are still interesting but not brutal, I suppose. So depending on what the plushie does, I guess. Do I watch Assassination Classroom? I have watched Assassination Classroom, and yes, I cried my eyeballs out at the end of it. Let's not talk about it. How many patron-only videos are there so far? Not a ton. There's a couple of levels to this, because some patrons get early access to things that do come out later. So early access is usually a few days early. So, for example, like tomorrow's audio, the early access people got yesterday. And then they can, comment on it and give feedback and whatnot early. There's a few things that are patron only. There's other content that's patron only. I've done readings of like books and other stories and stuff that's patron only. Probably not as much as I should be doing. Again, there's just a lot, but I do need to do more patron only content, because you guys are awesome. Patrons know they're so awesome. Holiday special. Yeah, I am not surprised, Sam. I know you love the holiday special. Was it weird making up someone supposedly in your life for the meta audio? No, it wasn't too weird. I mean, I've got a few, friends and family members that I have let into the knowledge that I have this channel over time. So it was sort of like those conversations. Nobody ever was like, you're being sus. Like, that never happened. But, it wasn't, it's a story that I have told to people, that I've explained to people what I do, and with varying degrees. Like, some people are like, oh yeah, I get it, and other people are like, I don't understand what you're talking about, sounds weird. And so yeah, it's an amalgamation of those conversations that happened. Another visit to the bar/domain soon, hopefully. It's surprising to me how many people want you to go back to the bar. Like, I really thought the bar was going to be, A, not that popular, and B, just sort of like accepted as, oh, okay, it's a bar, that's nice, when do we get back to the adventure stories? So I'm genuinely surprised that you guys like the bartender so much. Like, I may have to bring her back just for that, because I did not realize. I'm garbage at predicting what people are going to like. I'll upload something, sometimes and be like, oh, they're going to love this. And then it really doesn't do so well. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm wrong. Which is why in marketing, we say marketing is testing, because you really can't predict what people are going to like. That's why you test it. Between 24 and 27. Oh, pretty good guess. The prequel for Vampire Roommate was a great idea. Good. I'm glad you liked it. Oh my god, this chat, I'm gonna kill it. Can't get into audiobooks. Yeah, audiobooks, I mean, I have listened to some in the past, but in general, I've liked the ones where, like, somebody writes a memoir and then they record it. So it's like basically them telling their stories. That works for me. Like David Sedaris and Mindy Kaling and Tina Fey and things like that. Like when I've downloaded those audiobooks and listened to them, it's just their own stories that they're telling, and that I can get into. I haven't really listened to a lot of fiction audiobooks. Maybe, I don't know if I would be good at that or not. Yandere VA has words with you about your motorcycle. I mean, that would be funny. Yeah. Again, I'm not super into Yandere, but if I could find a way to do it that's not going to make me uncomfortable. I will, again, never say never. Why did you go right to murderous plushie? I did just come off a game of Among Us. Come on, cut me some slack. Can't believe you noticed me. Noticed me, senpai. Can you get more vampire? You will get more vampire every month. I do the Vampire Roommate once a month, at least. You haven't listened to my videos in a while. It's cool. You know, a lot of people have not listened to my videos hardly at all. Some people are, you know, taking a break, catching up, whatever. It's cool. And not all of my content is for everybody either. You know, some of my content is more appealing than others. So, I get it. The bar reminded you of Cheers. Oh, okay. Bartender is one of the greatest animes. I've never seen an anime called Bartender. Oh, thank you again for the super chat, Musical Boy. I'm thinking the plushie comes to life in the middle of the night when her owner has a rough day. Oh. Interesting. I mean, if we can keep it platonic, I'm not super okay with a romantic relationship with a plushie. But, yeah, maybe if it's platonic. I mean, comfort is comfort, right? It doesn't always have to be romantic. Comfort can just be friends. Comfort can be all kinds of comfort. A loud car could provide a nice amount of background noise. It depends on the noise. Like if I'm doing, you know, a lot of my stuff happens outside, but it's outside like in a park or in a forest or something like that, like Elf Bandit. So having the bird song and things like that, and maybe water running for a river, that's legit. But I can't work a motorcycle into that or anything like that. And city noise, even like the city ones, the few that I have, I guess, it seems inconsistent sometimes. If you get the motorcycle noise or the car noise, but you only get it like one time during the audio and the rest of it's very quiet, then it's pretty telling that that was not intentional. You know, that wasn't a sound that should have been there. And again, I can't separate it from the audio track if I pick it up while I'm recording. So I just try to keep it consistent. If I need outside city noise, I will download a free file of outside city noise, and that way I can keep it consistent throughout. How do you get a cute voice? Are there lessons? I mean, you can do voices. Hang on a sec. I have to open a Diet Coke. 1 second. This stream brought to you by my caffeine addiction. Okay. Cute voice. I know there are lessons people can take. I can't like confirm or deny that those are helpful. I've never taken any sort of cute voice lessons or like acting lessons or anything like that. I just talk. And I talk in a way that I talk in real life. So I don't have a lot of advice. That was clever. Advice to give on voice. I mean, obviously I do a few silly voices. Let me see if I can pull an Annie right now because I'm a little parched, but
1, 2, 3, burn! Have you seen my bear tibbers?
There you go. There's Annie. And I do Aunt Bethany from National Lampoon's Christmas, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies. And let's see if I can do that.
Is your house on fire, Clock? Don't throw me down, Clock. Is Rusty still in the Navy?
Yeah. So I do a few voices, but they're really goofy. So I don't know if cute's the word. Cute's probably not the word. Pasture chicken hydrate. Yes, thank you. Hold on, let me scroll back up. I am missing things. Do I have any new characters lined up? Always. I'm always churning new ideas for new characters. And it helps now that I'm doing the Olympian patrons with the script partners that they're bringing me some great ideas, like The Knight and the Witch now has 2 installments and will probably continue. And that was a Slayer collab. And so that one is basically a new character. I always say if I name the character, they're probably going to come back. That's not always a given, obviously, but I leave it open that way. Once they have a name, they become more real to me. The Elf Bandit series, the first chapter is over. It will probably return. I couldn't tell you when. I like where I kind of left it for now, parting ways, and they will probably come back together at some point. Could I make a werewolf RP? Werewolf is one that's always challenged me, and I couldn't tell you why. I think it's because either the listener would have to be the werewolf, which is doable, but it's been done, a lot by people that are better at it than me. Or if I was the werewolf, I don't feel super comfortable making, the noises. So the house dragon audio, I did the noises for Ember the house dragon. And I like how they turned out, don't get me wrong. But I just felt weird about it the whole time. Don't lick me. Don't lick me, you're fine. You are fine, go back to sleep. So, it's one of those things where I guess I could, but I just kind of feel like if I'm not comfortable, then I may not like how it turns out. I may not like... even if other people do, if I'm not comfortable with it, it's kind of hard to light that fire under myself and make me do it. It's harder to drag myself into the booth if I know I'm going to be doing something I'm not comfortable with. So, and again, like I said, werewolf roleplay has been done a lot by so many better people than me. There's some great ones out there that I cannot recommend enough. So, just YouTube's full of them. So I feel like I might be able to leave that to people that are more talented. Let's see. Bye again to anybody who can't stay. A grumpy neighbor roleplay. Well, I did just do a creepy neighbor. I could do a grumpy, I suppose. Who's grumpy, though? Me or the listener? The ghost house. Yeah, the ghost house one I might come back to again. It's a named character now, so we'll see. I don't know what made me think of that one. I like the idea, you guys know this, I like the idea of taking a character, like a trope that exists, and just sort of turning it on its head, like fantasy stuff that exists in our world in a very mundane sort of way, like a vampire who happens to have a real job and hates it, and a roommate because she can't afford to live on her own, and stuff like that. Or a house dragon that's basically like an oversized dog that has its own unique challenges, but it's still just a house pet. Things like that. So, so for the ghost, she's not even a ghost. She's dead, but she's not a ghost. That's the thing. The house is sort of keeping her animate. And I loved the idea of her just being this kind of lonely creature that lives in this house and just really enjoys entertaining, really enjoys having company. Who says ghosts and other sort of undead type things have to be scary or dark or angry or whatever? She's cool. She's chill. She's having a great... She bakes brownies. This is fun. I'm really having a good time. So, yeah, who says? Who made these rules that these things have to be scary and dark? They don't have to be. Oh, it popped again. Damn it. Annie is a champion on League of Legends. It's a video game. Annie is this little girl who has a teddy bear, and when you get your ult, the teddy bear grows into this monstrous beast of a bear that you can use to attack the other team with. So, do I have a specific phrase I use to get into a specific voice? Not really necessarily. Obviously I use sweetness pervasively. For Ceci, I would turn up the drawl a little bit and say pumpkin, but if I got too into her, I'd forget to do the drawl because the drawl doesn't come super natural. When I learned to speak, I was living in the South, so I will lapse back into it if I'm around people who speak that way, but it's harder to force it. The fairy storyline, I don't know if I'll bring her back. I might. I kind of liked where I was going with that, so she might come back for another chapter. Let's see. Love the cat shape changer. Yeah, the cat's fun too, the cat shape changer. That one I deliberately didn't monetize the first one because I was worried that YouTube would have a problem with references to nudity. That's how nervous I am about YouTube's algorithm and their tendency to demonetize at the drop of a hat. I've never seen Attack on Titan. It's just one I haven't gotten to yet. Reincarnation audio. Interesting. Treats for the pets. She's awake. She's awake-ish. She sat up and looked around and licked my leg, and now she's asleep again, pushed against my arm. Recovering yandere. Interesting. You guys are all trying to make my animals fat. I see you. I see you. Gangster fish mommy taking over the galaxy. That is not a sentence I ever would have thought to see. A Viking theme. Oh, that's interesting. That would be so much research. Not that I'm against that, but again, if it's not a universe that I'm inventing, like the Elf Bandit or the Scavenger, things like that, I'm inventing those universes, so I make the rules, I decide how things go. If it's an existing mythology or an existing culture, like the Greek mythology one, or a Viking one would be, then I would have to bury myself in the research in order to do it justice. And even then, I probably wouldn't feel like I was. But I cannot, I'm not one of those people that can just wing it. I can't just make shit up and be like, oh yeah, that's Viking. Or just like, watch a couple episodes of the show and be like, oh, I get it now. No, I have to actually learn it well enough to speak to it and represent it in a way that isn't offensive or dishonest or disingenuous or anything like that. The Perry audio might come back. She's fun. She's a little more trouble than she lets on. Get that southern drawl in there. I'd rather not. Howdy, partner. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like my natural voice, which is most of what I record anyway. So that meatball for Chonk is never going to die. I have a cat and a dog. I have a very fat orange cat and a very fat orange dog. That is my menagerie. And yes, my Discord is for patrons. I think I'm actually caught up on the chat, you guys. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. You guys have been keeping me busy. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like my voice. It's funny, nobody in my life has ever told me I had a good voice. And I know I've said this before for anybody that's been around before, but if you're new, you probably haven't heard me say this. I was never told I had a good voice. I don't know what possessed me to do this channel. To this day, I do not know why I started doing this. I mean, I was into listening to audio role plays. I was writing scripts for other VAs, and then just for some reason I thought, why don't I write one of these for myself? And that's all she wrote. No, don't apologize. Yeah, the research is exhausting, but in a good way. If I take on an existing mythology or an existing culture, I mean, yeah, it's even the Peri. The Peri is an existing, Persian myth. So I didn't go quite as down that rabbit hole as I did with Helen. But anything that exists, I have to get to know it. I mean, even the fairy to an extent. Like, it's silly, but I still draw on existing fairy lore when I tell those stories, and I research it as well as I can. Because I know either I'm going to be disappointed in myself if I don't do the best job I can, or somebody in the comments is going to be like a PhD in fairy literature, and they're going to come along and be like, well, here's what you got wrong. And they're not going to be wrong. They're going to be right. So I don't play ranked in League. I don't. Anything I play to reduce my stress level. And things like that would make me stressed. So I play League, mostly ARAMs, to be honest, because they're just such a free-for-all, and I like that. And it gives me a chance to play champs that I wouldn't otherwise play, probably. I play, like, Stardew, because it's kind of chill. I play Fall Guys, of course, and Among Us, which best game of Among Us ever was my first game of Among Us ever, where I played for 3.5 hours and never had to be the imposter. Because that's perfect for me. I just do my tasks, and, if I get killed, I keep doing my tasks. I go about my life and not have to worry about lying to anybody. Like, that's my favorite. I'm a garbage liar, so it's unfortunate. But yeah, so games that help me chill out. Recently on Twitch, I did a sub-goal playthrough of Subnautica, which I had never played before. I went in totally blind. I hadn't even looked at it. I hadn't looked at the gameplay, nothing. But everybody kept telling me I should play Subnautica. So I said, fine, once I reach a certain number of subs, we'll do that. And I did, so I did. And should have known from the name that it was not going to be great for somebody with a deathly fear of drowning, which am I. So I struggled a little bit with that. Plus, having never played it, you know, there were a lot of people in the chat trying to tell me what to do or trying to, you know, help me figure out what I needed to do. Or, of course, the handful of people who are like, let's deliberately mislead her so she dies. That'll be hilarious. Like, ugh, no, don't do that. But mostly it was just that sort of tension of anytime I started running out of air, trying to get to the surface. And that feeling, like I could feel it in my chest while I was playing it. And it was super stressful. And I know it's not supposed to be a super stressful game. And I know it's not, I mean, games are games, they are what they are. But if I'm going to be that stressed, I'm not relaxing, I'm not having a super good time. Like, that wasn't bad, actually. By the end, I feel like I was getting the hang of it. But doing a game like that, completely blind, no idea what I was doing, you know, that was unexpectedly tense, I guess, to put it lightly. And the next sub-goal for Twitch is going to be Minecraft, because obviously I've watched Minecraft, I've watched videos, I've watched my friends play. I've just never actually sat down and played Minecraft. I have no idea why. I just never have. And I know that's weird. But if I hit, I can't remember what the goal is, maybe 100 subs on Twitch, I'll play Minecraft for the first time. And we'll see how that goes. Something tells me not great, but we'll see. I did manage to not die in Subnautica. I stayed alive the whole time, so I got that going for me. What else? The most wholesome audio I've done? Oh my gosh. I mean, most of the comfort audios are pretty wholesome. The jetpack one. And the myth alignments. There are so many that are just so, you know, designed to be comforting and caring and things like that, so... Scrolling. I have lost all of my lead. No! I guess. There we go. Okay, where was I? Oh, thank you. It's nice that you like my voice. Steampunk World War I audio. Interesting. That's an idea. Game universe themed audio. Probably not. Again, because the game universes are the intellectual property of their owners. They are not mine. And so I could toe the line a little bit. Like with the Saving the Superhero one, in my head there were elements of My Hero Academia, there were elements of X-Men, you know, because a lot of those things sort of draw on each other. Obviously, there's a lot of overlap when there's superheroes or magic creatures or anything like that. They don't exist in a vacuum. All of them are built on the bones of the ones that came before. So, you know, doing my own take on a trope like that, I can definitely do. But using names and places and, you know, established things, like I couldn't do one and reference things like Nuka-Cola and stuff like that. Like, obviously it's obvious what game that comes from, and it's not mine. So I couldn't do something like that. Have you ever visualized Laurel the fairy? Yeah, Perry is a Persian fairy. Sort of a fairy angel type thing. Laurel the fairy in my head looks a lot like the thumbnail that scrolls through that's got like the black and white dress. Like the kind of frilly white with the black, almost like a tank top thing underneath. That's how Laurel looks in my head. You made an audio of a roommate explaining to the vampire. Oh. That's nice of you. I mean, some of my patrons do fan, like obviously the fan art is a thing, but there's some fanfics out there. There's some stuff built in the same universes that I create. And that's cool. I like it. Any problems doing off-canon stories? Well, I mean, I did do Breaking into the Wizard School. I did the 2 people breaking into the Wizard School, and there are flavors of Harry Potter in that. Not exactly the same. Magic works a little differently, but in my head, it was sort of like a Dumbledore-esque mischievous headmaster kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, obviously my work is influenced by other things, and that I think has a broader appeal. If you like, you know, magical stories with wizards, stuff like that might appeal. So, Ree loves to play Vladimir can suck it. He's not a fun champ to play. Euro Truck Sim, one of the most relaxing games you've played. I mean, Relaxing game. No, they don't have to be super relaxing. Like I like Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is fun, even though there are moments where, your ship is hit by lightning and it sinks, or a megalodon eats your ship, or any number of skeletons sink you. Anything happens. There's some high stress moments in that game, but in general, just kind of sailing, it's kind of chill. It's kind of nice doing fetch quests and stuff like that. It's kind of chill. I play on Twitch a couple times a week in the evenings generally, and I also play on Fluxy's channel. We have a standing stream every Saturday from like 10 Eastern time to about 1, and we usually play League. Sometimes we play Fall Guys, sometimes play other things, and that's always on his channel, but I am always there for it. So if you want to watch me stream without being on my channel, that's it. My stream is by myself or generally solo. It's just me hanging out, playing Stardew, planting trees, and wondering when my NPC husband is going to step up and do something. So, an Among Us roleplay. I saw that GB did an Among Us ASMR. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. She's amazing. I love her. Some voice actors I've written for. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it because those were under my real name. So, not doing it. Yes, you do hear the princess snoozing away. She be here. Hold up, I lost the chat again. Okay, I think I found it again. What would I suggest to someone who's decided to attempt their hand at writing stories or recording audio? Two separate things there. So writing stories, if you're writing a script, like a one-sided audio script like this, that is a very different sort of writing than if you're writing like short stories and whatnot. Short stories, you have a lot of flexibility. You can describe things. You can be a third-person omniscient, put all the power and knowledge in the hands of the reader that you want. You can get inside the heads of characters who are not just yourself. If you are writing a one-sided role play, you are limited entirely by dialogue, basically. The entire story, like you have to be talking to a listener, obviously, because somebody has to be hearing it. You have to be interacting with a listener who is presumably responding. You have to write dialogue that anticipates what that listener is saying and responds accordingly. And you have to paint the picture using just your words and occasionally some sound effects. So, my best advice on that, a couple of things. One, try to say people's names as little as possible. Because, say I'm talking to a character named Jim. I'm almost never going to say Jim out loud because I'm talking to him. Nobody says each other's names out loud when they're talking to them in dialogue. It just doesn't happen. People don't do that. If you're looking at somebody and talking to them, you don't say their name, unless they are pointedly ignoring you, and then you might say their name to get their attention. But in general, people don't say each other's names out loud in conversation. So that's thing A that people tend to do wrong. Thing B is the exposition dump. You've got to be very careful when you're putting information out there. If you're building a world, if you're telling a story about what's going on around you, if the listener and you are sharing a world where there is an established story, an established mythology or whatever, you would not in that conversation be describing it. You would not be saying something like, isn't it weird how this thing just happened? Like, because you both were just there and you know what just happened. So it's awkward to do the exposition dump in a way that is not conversational. People don't have those conversations. So you have to trickle it in. You have to add little bits here and there and just trust that your listeners are following and putting it together on their own and painting a picture of this world on their own. And then the rest is just speaking as you normally do. When I write a script, I write the dialogue. I don't write the listener side, but I sort of imagine what it would be. And then I just write my side again, and I continue like that. And I script every pause. I script every every yeah, every okay, everything. It is all part of the script. Unless it's specifically an ad-lib script, which I've only done a couple of ever. Almost every script I've ever done has been scripted to the teeth, because that way I have complete control over the flow. And I can see where the pauses are, and I can imagine how long the pause should be in order for the listener. Because that's the other thing that kind of bugs me in these one-sided audios. If the speaker speaks too quickly and doesn't leave enough space for a response, and then immediately keeps talking as though there was a response, like that's jarring to me, because in an ordinary conversation that space would have been longer because the listener would have been talking. So, and obviously you don't want it to be too long because then you lose them, but you have to keep it as natural as possible if that's what you're going for, is like a natural exchange of information, and just let it flow, let the story unfold. And there's sometimes where I will write a script and maybe the next day I'll go get in the booth to record it, and as I'm recording it I almost don't remember writing it, because when I'm writing it I'm in this completely separate zone of just telling a story through this dialogue, and when I go to record it I'm like, did I write this? I had to have written this, I just don't remember doing it. But it's, the outcome is the same. So that's my advice for recording audio. Obviously, a decent mic with a pop filter, as much soundproofing as you can comfortably get in a closet. Again, closets are great because you don't have to do, like, buying that foam is not generally worth it. It's not super helpful. It can be expensive. It's not, like, I don't recommend it. I have, like I said, a little wraparound, like, screen that's kind of thick with foam, and that kind of helps reduce some of the ambient sound. But really, being in a closet surrounded by clothes, blankets, pillows, things like that, practicing so you can get a good feel for how close to be to the mic, and where your breathing is. Generally you want to speak next to but away from the mic so you're not breathing directly into it. And then afterwards, go back and clean it up. Edit out the swallowing, the breathing, the coughing, anything else that happens. If you mess up while you're recording, take a breath and keep going, because you can always cut that out later. And just re-record that same line over again. You don't have to stop the whole thing down and freak out. You could just keep going. And then go back through it with a fine-tooth comb. And then you'll hear things. And you go back through it, you hear things you didn't realize, like a tapping, maybe something fell or something bumped or a car went by. You didn't hear it the first time because you were fixated on what you were doing. And you can edit it out then and get it nice and clean. I listen through usually 2 to 3 times. I'll listen once through when I do the first audio pass to clean it up. I'll listen again as I go and add the soundscape, and I'll listen one more time as I package it to make sure it all came together okay. So, yeah, it's a process. If you really want to do it right, you got to take your time. But it gets better. My original, like the first Vampire Remade audio I did, I think it took me something like 3 hours to edit. That's crazy. It shouldn't take that long. But I was still learning. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I had a garbage mic back then. So now it takes me a lot less time to edit. Really, the longest portion right now is the script writing. The script writing takes a long time because I just want to tell a good story. Alrighty. Let's see what else we got. Have I played Firewatch? No, I have not. Crabby that the stalkers wouldn't eat me in Subnautica. I see it. Yes, you heard Minecraft. Last I checked, I had 52 subscribers on my Twitch. I don't know what I'm at now. That was a couple of days ago. So I was at 52, I think, at the end of the last live stream I did. Have I been demonetized? No. I have not been demonetized to my knowledge. Oh, I love you too. If it could be any superhero from any universe, who would it be? Ooh. Yikes. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a lot of choices. Holy crap. Do we get a Vamp Roommate Halloween party story? The Vampire Roommate this month is not going to be a Halloween party story, I don't think. I was planning on pushing the plot forward, but maybe I could take another detour. Remember to move around and hydrate. Yeah. Yeah, I've got posture checks and hydrates on my Twitch set for the channel points. And of course the treats for the pets and all that stuff who do not need it. Other solo games to play during the week. Yeah, I could play other things besides Stardew. I'm open. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, I'm YOLO. Thank you for your hard work and content. Oh, you're welcome. What surprised you the most about doing the channel? The growth. I was surprised that people actually listened when I made the channel. I was kind of shocked by that, to be honest. Never expected it to become anything at all. Fantasy novels been written too many times? No, I don't think fantasy novels have been written too many times. I think there's always a way to make it unique. Even if you do every trope in the book, even if it's a magical sword and a savior quest and a, slay the dragon or whatever it is, there's ways to make it interesting. And that really does come down to the writing and to the personality of the characters and just how much you build around that. And bear in mind that, as the saying goes, what's interesting about a protagonist with no flaws? Nothing. Nothing is interesting about that protagonist. Don't do it. Don't write people without flaws. I mean, it's tempting to, because you want that perfection, but perfection is boring as hell. It's super boring. Let's see what else. Yeah, repeating the listener's question back is annoying. I'm not a big fan of that. Oh, it's the chat. Thank you for the super chat, M3. Of course, I'm happy to share how I do things. I'm happy to share the process. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the congratulations. Are birds government spies? Could be. I think the jury's still out on that. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Urban Nymph. Easy peasy. What else? Is making audio stressful? In the sense that I make it stressful for myself. I set my own deadlines. I set my schedule, and I have to make sure I upload early enough for the people that have early access to get them early. So I have to make sure the scripts are written, recorded, edited, packaged, and uploaded in plenty of time. And I also have to do the thumbnails and credits and everything. So it can be stressful if I wait too long. Sometimes I almost have to wait until it's almost last minute in order to force my own hand, because if I'm tired or I'm struggling or I'm, it's just been a long day and I just don't have it in me, I'll be like, you know what, I've got a day and a half until that has to be up. I got time. Before my day job got more stressful, I was able to work a little further ahead. Now I'm not as good at it, but I'm trying to get back in the groove. And also I think before the Twitch thing, although to be fair, before I started streaming on Twitch, I was super nervous about it. I was honestly scared to death about it. I didn't know what I was going to do or if anybody was going to listen or watch. And now I actually really like it. I love logging into that at the end of a long day and just kind of chilling and streaming and talking to you guys and seeing how everybody's day was and stuff like that. So I enjoy that more than I expected to. And now it's like I'll have an evening where it's like I could stream and hang out with my friends, or I could work on a script. I think I'm streaming. And it's selfish on my part, and I do still get the work done. I have yet to be too late with any audios, but I do sometimes cut it by the skin of my teeth, and that's because stress can be motivating. Too much stress is bad for you, but a little stress is very motivating, and I will absolutely play that card on myself if I have to. Oh, Animaniacs Forever, thank you for the super chat. Oh, we feel lucky to have you too. Is that a dog? Yes, this is a dog. She is snoring. She is right here. A cute gangster roleplay. Yeah, you're not the first to suggest that. I should probably look into that. Do I do music? No. I mean, I listen to music. I don't make music. Shout out to everyone with flaws. Yes, we are flawed. I love it. A person believing they don't have flaws is a flaw. Yeah, it's like raging arrogance. My name came about because I was, like I said, I was kind of a Greek mythology geek as a kid. I loved the stories. I loved the nymphs. I liked the idea of all these little aspects of nature having their own guardian spirits, their own supernatural protectors looking after them. And as much as I like being outside, and I like to kayak and hike and stuff like that, I am by nature a city person. I don't like to be away from stuff for too long. I like to be around people and around, I'm not an extrovert by any stretch. I'm absolutely an introvert. But as far as where I live, I like to be not too far away for the fire department to reach me, or, where I can get takeout or delivery, at a fairly reasonable clip, with a lot of variety. If I feel like I want something delivered, I don't want to live in a place where I can only get one kind of pizza and that's it. I want choices. So being available and accessible to options in my life, I like. That's why I like the urban thing. So I was like, well, cities don't really have protector spirits. I mean, they had gods, obviously. Different cities were they had patron gods, but I liked the idea of a city having a nymph that protected it and kept it running, so that's why Urban Nymph became a thing. Scrolling. We'll wrap this up in like 15 minutes, guys. That's my goal, because we've been doing this for nearly 2 hours now. Wow. Elliot's feeling in his nose. Yeah, my NPC husband is a weirdo. Perfection is boring. Yes, it is. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Wicked Proxy. Will I ever do VTuber roleplays and or for live streams? I wasn't ever planning to do the VTuber thing. I don't know. Again, I never say never. I'm open to most ideas if the execution is reasonable. Hello from Croatia. Hello from Denmark. Wow, we got a lot of different places represented in the chat. Introverts unite, separate in our own homes is correct. Absolutely is correct. I am, and don't get me wrong, I like people enough. I can get along around people. I can socialize. I can turn it on when I need to, but it's not as natural to me, I think, as it is to some. And that's okay. I think a lot of us are introverts. Will you stop making sounds? You're a weird cat. What? What? What is it? What is it? What is it, pretty kitty? He woke up. He woke up and looked around a little bit. Ooh, Norway, Argentina. Wow. Oh, yeah, V's Chibi-Re. I do love that. That's amazing. The fan art you guys produce is so ridiculously amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Man, we got a lot of countries representing. I want to say like 45% of my listeners are in America, so the rest of you are scattered all over, and that's pretty awesome. I love it. I love that you guys still listen. You know, I love that you found me and that you listen. Chonk ASMR. Collabs, I'm always open to collabs if another creator approaches me, and which has happened. I've done collabs with Pine Cat and Vixie. If they approach me and say, hey, I've got this character, you know, this script with multiple characters, and I think you'd be great for this character, I'll read the script. I will always give it a chance. I will always, you know, read it through and see if I like it. I will also say no if it's not a good fit. You know, it's simple enough. Always strive to be better than you are, but never perfect. That's a good way to think of it. I've never watched Bleach. Do I have a favorite League champ? It depends on what I'm playing. If I'm playing support, I like Soraka. If I'm playing tank, I like Mundo. If I'm just there to burn shit to death, I like Brand. I'm a pretty solid Rise. What else? I like Zyra. She's kind of weak, but I like her. I accidentally stole a Penta from Fluxy with Zyra once because my little plants wouldn't stop shooting stuff, which is not my fault. 100% not my fault. What did I collab on with Pine? There was a werewolf one, actually. I played a Neko, where the listener's a werewolf, and the listener and Pine Cat have a fight, and the listener goes off and hangs with his werewolf buddies, and apparently there's also a Neko there, and that's me. So, thank you for the super chat. Solaire of Astra, that's pretty. You're one of the best audio channels out there. Oh, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. I still don't feel like this is real half the time. It's strange to me that it's gotten so big and that people actually listen. It's still strange to me that people listen. It kind of boggles the mind a little bit. What are my plans for Vampire Roommate? My plan is to let that story unspool for as long as possible. I've got ideas. I had the script in my head pretty much written up through the last showdown with Grandpa, when it's basically like, you will back off and you will let us live our lives. That was kind of as far as I took the story as I knew it at the time. Now I'm going different directions. Like the thing with the mom, I've got an idea for where that's going. I have not committed to it in my head, though. Like I'm leaving myself some wiggle room because I've got a couple of ways I could take it. And yeah, that's about all I can say about that. But yes, the Vampire Roommate story will continue, and there are plans, and of course the relationship will progress with the listener, but not too quickly. I mean, I like a slow burn. I like a developed story, and I think it's more satisfying to, like, as many people who after like the second episode of Vampire Roommate were like, when are they going to get married? The short answer is not now. And I mean, come on, if you've ever watched a show, you know, the wedding episode tends to be where the show jumps the shark, right? So I'm not saying they're, obviously they're together. Obviously they're progressing forward. Their future is going forward together, and that will continue. But I'm not in any hurry. I'm not in any hurry to bring anything to a conclusion with the story, because if I did that, there would be no more story, and you guys would be sad. You know that'd be sad. So. Ziggs is not okay. Isn't Ziggs currently like the second worst mid? Like, currently. People don't say their names in conversation. I mean, obviously there are exceptions to my conversational rules. I'm just saying, in my experience, this is how dialogue works. I should watch Bleach, probably. I'm currently watching Saint Seiya Omega and Astra Lost in Space, and occasionally an episode of Sergeant Frog when I feel like hating myself. Actually, no, that's pretty funny. It's a fun show. A guided meditation / hypnosis. I did that sort of guided relaxation one because I'm not like an actual practitioner of anything like that, so I wouldn't feel necessarily very comfortable trying to actually hypnotize a listener or anything like that. But a guided relaxation I've done before, and I could probably do another one where it's just, moving from body part to body part, relaxing each muscle group and letting yourself sort of sink down. What keeps me motivated? I mean, for the channel, it's a lot of you guys. The fact that you're listening, that you like what I put out there, definitely keeps me motivated. My pets, my pets get me out of bed in the morning. Like But yeah, I mean, as far as the channel goes, as far as the audios go, the motivation is that you guys like it, and I want to keep making things that you like, that you appreciate, or that you find some joy in, or some comfort in, or some entertainment in. If I can do that, I feel like I'm doing something right. Do I pre-read my script and edit it to make it more readable? Yeah, here's the thing about rewrites. I just generally don't do them, and I never have. I was that kid who, if a teacher said, well, I want you to turn in your first draft, and then you got to turn in your second draft, my first draft usually was my final draft, because I never understood not writing something right the first time. That never made sense to me. And I would sometimes get points off because my first draft and my final draft were not different. I would still, they could find nothing wrong with the final draft, but it was still because I had not changed anything. And I'm like, but I did it right the first time. What's so bad about that? And it just puzzled me to no end that there were these drafts. That was a thing. It just made no sense. Now, when I'm writing a script, it's kind of the same thing. Once I get the fully formed idea in my head, I don't put it to paper until I know what I'm going to do with it. And then when I write it, I write it. And I almost never have edits. If I have edits, it's a slight word choice change or something like that. It's not a significant change, because I just write it. And like I said, I kind of go into this zone when I'm writing where if I read it later, I will have forgotten that I wrote that. I don't remember writing it, but I very clearly did. And as I read it, it makes sense. And sometimes I'll read it and be like, oh, I wonder if I said this next. Yeah, I did say this next. That makes sense. That's me. I almost catch myself off guard with it. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with edits, and I'm sure, in my experience, because I do a lot of writing for my job, and I work with a lot of people at my company who are not writers, but who have strong opinions. Every department in a company needs their message told. They all need their stuff put out there, and they all have an idea of how they want that told, but they are not the writers. They are not the communicators in the group, but they will have strong opinions about it. They will be like, well, I think it should say this. I think it should say that. And as the person whose job it is to make the words, I have to be the one to either say, okay, yeah, that works, or it doesn't, and here's why. And you know, it's amazing to me how many people who don't write for a living will get very attached to their words, because that's not, you know, that's not their job, but they really, like, how we tell our stories, how we say things is something that we have a very personal attachment to. And it can be hard to take edits from others. And, you know, I am not in love with my work writing. I don't get emotionally attached to the stuff I write for work because it's my job, and I'm not emotionally attached to, you know, I work for a software company, and it's an important job, but it's not, you know, we're not curing cancer. So I like what I do, but I am not, you know, if somebody comes, like if my boss comes back to me and says, hey, we actually need to say this differently, I don't have a problem with it. Like usually it's because I didn't know what the original intent was, or I didn't know what message I was supposed to be getting across, and now that I know, I can change it. That's cool. I have no problem with that. But, you know, when it comes to my scripts and stuff, I don't want to overthink them, and I just try to write them the first time the way I would want them to be the first time. I don't know if that makes sense. Thank you for the super chat, Connor Guzman. Oh, that's a bold claim. My videos make life better. Are vampires immune to the virus? You mean coronavirus? Yeah. Let's say they are. The Happy Days episode where the phrase "jump the shark" came from. Wow. That's some TV lore right there. All right. Wow. I think we are reaching the end of this. Gosh, it's been 2 hours, and you guys have had some really great questions. I'm happy with the conversation that we've had here today. I hope you are too. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here for the past year, and for listening and liking and subscribing and supporting me and all that good stuff. I am so, so grateful. And I'm so, so proud of what we've made. You know, I'm proud of how much we've grown, that this channel has kind of found its feet, and we've gotten into this groove of 3-a-week audios and different themes and different stories, and now the Twitch streaming and, you know, whatever else comes of that. I feel like it's been a hell of a journey, and I feel like it's got a lot more to go, and I couldn't be happier with where we are, and with you guys along with me. I feel like it's always going to be a blast. Yeah, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. So I appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon, as always.